I told you, if I were a criminal, I would not want her coming after me. I'm talking about the new U.S. Attorney for the District of Columbia, Jeanine Pirro. And if you do not believe me, here's what I said yesterday on this news program. But I just want to go back to Jeanine Pirro, who's the U.S. Attorney here, having known her from Fox News forever, and Pam Bondi over at the U.S. Attorney, as the United States Attorney General. I just wouldn't mess with either one of those women.
Yeah,
I wouldn't want either one of them on my tail. Go back to former district attorney in Westchester County in New York, former judge in Westchester County, New York, former colleague of mine at the Fox News Channel, and now the United States Attorney for the District of Columbia, Jeanine Pirro. Jeanine, boy, it's great to see you.
It's great to see you, Greta. We had the same memo today on the red jackets. But you're right. We go back a very long time, and both of us have, I think, very similar philosophies about law enforcement and crime in general. But I'm thrilled to be here in the district with you.
I'm thrilled to have you there. And when I said that I wouldn't mess with you, I was serious. You know, frankly, I mean, I don't know if the viewers know, you're a whole lot of fun. You're a whole lot of fun. But you're a very serious prosecutor, and I really wouldn't want you to be chasing me. I really wouldn't.
I appreciate that. You know, we've got a lot of chasing to do here in the District of Columbia. There's a lot of crime here, Greta. And, you know, when the president decided that he wanted to make D.C. safe and beautiful, the agenda was one that was very clear for me. It's going back to my roots as a prosecutor, as a judge, as someone who fights for the victim. And I think that people in D.C. for too long have been victimized by violent crime. They had the 4th highest murder rate in the country last year. I mean, think about that. If D.C. was a state, it would be the most, it would have the highest homicides in the country. And, you know, the fact that our homicide rate is like many times that of places like Islamabad and Havana, Cuba, and all that is an indication of how dangerous it is here. And I have to tell you, Greta, looking at all of this, I think the D.C. Council has passed laws that are absurd. And for those people who are not from the district, it's like the local state law enforcement and the local law enforcement or representatives of the state legislature. And then you've got the D.C. courts. They are so liberal. They go so beyond what the Supreme Court requires that 2 weeks ago, I had a guy who shot another kid on a bus, shot him in the chest. Okay, he was 19 years old. To me, Greta, you shoot someone in the chest, it's the intent to kill. Well, we convicted him of shooting the other kid in the chest. The judge gave him probation and said, you should go to college. That's the end of it. This is what I'm dealing with. We get gun possession, gun convictions. The judges won't send him to jail. So we've got to turn everything around. It's a mentality. Laws have to be changed. Courts have to be changed. It's very bad here in the district, and we're doing everything we can with this surge, working with the Metropolitan Police Department, bringing in all our federal partners, and we've made over 450 arrests, I think, since Thursday, and we've collected or taken 70 guns off the street. That's 70 few weapons that people can use to kill other people.
I think you proved my point why I wouldn't want you after me. On a serious note, you recently wrote an op-ed. I live here, and what you wrote in it is about, we talk about crime, but a lot of this crime is done by very young people who are out of reach of the courts because they're not adults. And I mean, that's a crisis in the city. Yeah.
It is a crisis. The problem is that we've got 14, 15, 16, and 17-year-olds who can actually shoot someone with a gun. I could prove it, but I'm not allowed to even arrest or prosecute or convict that person because of the laws in D.C. And, you know, we've got to lower the age of responsibility. You can make it consistent with violent crimes. That would make sense. But right now, you've got a bunch of punks running around, gangs and crews, that have no accountability, no responsibility. They carjack, and they can do it openly, and we cannot arrest them. They go to the state attorney general, and they go to family court, the purpose of which is rehabilitation, ice cream socials, and a few yoga things now and then. And that is not consistent with what we've got to do to clean up this city. They know that they're not going to be arrested. They know that they can actually run around with guns and not be arrested, Greta. This is lunacy here. And what the president is doing, and I got to, yeah.
I was going to say that one of the things I think we got to look at in this country, it's being done in a few jurisdictions, is that there was a case here before you arrived where 3 girls, 12, 13, 14, kicked some poor man to death in his 60s, a disabled man on the street. And they, it was after midnight, I think. And I think you got to go after some of these parents, find some laws to hold the parents to get their kids in at home. I mean, there's a lot of parental responsibility that we've got to figure out some way to include the parents, to put the, maybe the laws need to be changed so the parents feel some of the responsibilities so they do more responsible things.
And Greta, years ago, I recommended the same thing because our frustration level is so great. We're looking for some control. And who has the ultimate control over a child? A parent. But the problem is a lot of these kids, don't have parents who are there or who are interested in what they're doing. A lot of them have left home. Some of them are runaways, some of them in gangs, some of them in foster care. I believe in parental accountability and responsibility. But unfortunately, that doesn't solve the extent of the problem that we have here. And you've got older kids telling younger kids to, commit crimes or to shoot or to carjack. They torch a car, Greta, and I can't not prosecute them. And this is crazy. If you're 16 under Title 16, if you're 16 or 17, I can only prosecute you for rape 1, murder, sexual abuse, robbery, armed robbery, and burglary 1. Nothing else. Nothing else. And you know what's crazy, Greta? I got to write an op-ed piece on this soon. There's no definition of manslaughter in D.C. Think about that. Think about it, Greta. You and I have been trained in the law. There's no definition of manslaughter. I mean, there's a lot that needs to be done. And my next op-ed piece is not just on the D.C. Council, and they're giving young people the ability to not face mandatory minimums when we do get them in criminal court. They're in a position where they can literally give them probation for something that requires mandatory minimum. They also can take young people who are convicted before the age of 25, if they've served 15 years for a serial murder, say 3 murders, they can let them out with no reason. They can just let them out. And now they want to seal the convictions. They want to say, you know what, we don't want these people to have, not just young people, but everyone to have a record. So we're going to require you, Madam Prosecutor, to seal all your records. Well, no, I don't want to seal my records. Parents need access to those records if they want to hire you as a babysitter. If you've got a camp or some teaching place or an employer, what are we doing here? Everything is backwards, but we're going to fix it with the president's initiative.
Well, I'm certain you are, and I do hope you come back. It's really nice to see you. Jeanine Pirro, U.S. Attorney for the District of Columbia. Practicing in the courts where I used to practice. Thank you, Jeanine.
Thank you. Take care.
People think news just happens. It doesn't. It happens because there's someone there to capture the moment, to explain it and share it. That's my job. I go where news breaks and give you the facts. Join me for The Record on Newsmax.